Hey everybody, welcome to Brothers and Booze. We're back after a week off.
Yes.
And we have a gentleman with us who's going to talk about Justin Bieber and maple syrup. And
No, I
No,
agreed to none of that.
apparently we're not going to do that. So we're here with Casey Palmer, and
Hi.
man, it's going to be great. So, usually we don't really have a lot of foreplay into the show. So,
Okay.
So I'm going to take that innuendo and open up a beer.
And
So,
what do you have? What do we have today over there? What actually? You know what? Let's before we start.
Yeah.
I realized that we probably have a lot of differences between beers in Canada and the U.S. I meant to look up the stats on like beer or breweries per capita, but Toronto is like a bit of a Canadian beer mecca right now. So we have a lot of microbreweries and we have tons of different beers across the city. So I'm very interested to see what you guys are going to bring to the table today for beer.
Yeah,
Casey, you are not our first Canadian guest, believe it or not.
that's true.
I semi believe it. I mean, there's only 38 million of us up here, but whatever.
Yeah, we don't ignore her. But the young lady who we had on from Canada, she told us that a lot of you guys, with all due respect to you guys play a lot off of what we do down here.
Yeah, we did the entire the little hat of America thing for a long time, but now we're just like, I feel like the last 10 years with the research or the growth of Drake has really helped us brought our own identity. So now we're just kind of like, yeah, we're good now. We're good. Yeah. Canadian identity is Aubrey Graham.
We'll get into other things later, but in my opinion, if you're gonna style yourself after America in one thing, the best thing would be beer. You can leave the rest over here.
Okay.
We do beer pretty good, man. I'm kind of unabashed about that. But it's we have resources. Given our resources via geography and stuff, it gives us a vast area to make hops and all that. So, Doug, are you jumping in first?
Yeah, man, I'll start first. I'm going to start actually with a sort of a lighter ABV one for me because I'm usually very heavy. So this is a local one, Grist Iron. I've had some of their other stuff on the show before. This one is called Mom's Favorite Chocolate Peanut Butter Stout. So this one's 5.38 ABV. I have not had this. So this one's out of Burdett, New York, which is right on the Finger Lakes. So let's open this puppy up and see what we got.
Finger Lakes, upstate New York. How far are they from Canada?
That sounds familiar. I hear people vacation down there and stuff. I think it's just over a hop, skip, and jump over the border, but it's a long border. So I don't know which part of the border.
Depends on the lake. My wife just pointed out to me that it's like 4 or 5 hours because, yeah.
You have to go to Buffalo and then over, or you're going up through the North Country. It's a pain.
Yeah. Both ways sound like, we go to Buffalo for shopping and then we stay there. They were like, Finger Lake, what discounts? Like, oh, look, outlet malls are great.
Never been to Buffalo. Ooh, that looks juicy.
Yeah, now it's fun is it's supposed to be a peanut butter stout, but I smell no peanut butter. Interesting.
That's usually, yeah.
The peanut butter and is definitely on the palate.
Okay.
It's supposed to have chocolate. I don't smell nor taste hardly any chocolate at all. It's actually weirdly a little bit hoppy. It's using Cascade hops. That's probably part of the reason. But it's not bad. It's not what I expected. I expected, you get your peanut butter stouts. You're just expecting to get a lot of chocolate and peanut butter punching in your face, but that's not it. It's not. Yeah, it's very drinkable, but like kind of a hoppy stout with a little bit of peanut butter flavor. Not a lot of chocolate going on there. So,
did you say it's not very drinkable?
No, I think it is drinkable because sometimes you get the chocolate peanut butter ones and they're so sweet and so heavy on those flavors that you just like one and that's just I'm good. This is much more reserved on the flavors. So
cool.
Gotcha. What's going on, Casey? What you got tonight? What do you have? What are you sharing?
Well, I was going to start with another beer, but then I realized I left my opener across the room. So instead, I'll go with the one in a can.
Yeah.
from
Okay.
Hamilton, Ontario. I have Jam Up the Mash. I am one of those beer non-purists who seem to enjoy sour beers because of my palate. So this one is a very dry hop sour. It's
Mm.
delicious.
Mm.
I have not accepted that summer is over and we have snow on the ground. So I'm just like, no, summer beers all year as long as they can.
Yeah. Cling
So
into it.
it's, I mean, you guys know far more about the entire world of being a Cicerone and beer than I do, but I can tell you that there are Citra and Mosaic hops in this, and it's unfiltered, and I can return it for a refund where applicable.
Leave it nice. So is that Collective Arts?
It is Collective Arts.
Yeah, we get some of their stuff down here in upstate New York.
Oh, do you?
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
It is good. They are one of the more adventurous breweries that we have around. And so they will try things with gozes and everything from cucumber to lemongrass to Himalayan salt. So they really try to mix it up and see what they can do to shock the palate. So cheers.
Love it. What's that one called again?
Jam Up the Mash.
Jam. Yeah.
What flavors are they? Is it
I'm gonna try to find this one.
yeah. So it's a sour, but what's the flavor that they're promoting on the can?
Yeah, they don't even say. It's just deliciousness. I'd have to Google it. Literally. I will do that right now. Other screen happening.
I have it right
I'm
here.
trying to become
Yeah,
educated.
Greg will pull it up so we can all see it on the screen. So hold on just a moment.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah,
You guys are a full service podcast. I like this.
Done this once or twice. But yeah.
That looks like it right there.
Yeah, and they have some really cool artwork for their cans.
They get a lot of local artists to supply. Yeah.
Yeah, Casey, I don't know if you know, but Doug's a big art in the can guy. I mean, art on the cans. How about that?
You are going to love me, Doug.
Yeah.
I go to the
I don't need to
artiest
see what your
breweries we
beer
have.
cans are to love you already, man. It's all right. So 5.2 ABV.
Ooh.
So is it more tart or sour?
Definitely more. What's the difference?
Well, so for instance, with sours for me, if it
Mhm.
the tart is almost like has a sweeter note to it, where to me the sours are like just like they make your mouth pucker. That's for
Okay.
me. That's how my
Okay.
palate works.
So more the fruitiness instead of the just like sour tart pucker element. It's definitely more
For
of a
me.
tart one then. Yeah. This is you can taste the fruity element to it as you drink it. So it's really good hang out, enjoy a evening type beer. I have other ones that are far more sour that I'll probably bust out later into the session, but we'll
That's
start
good.
with this.
So Casey, you said that you're a sour guy. You love them, right? That's your thing. Because
That's my
I
thing.
love them too.
Oh, awesome.
So how do you? Yeah. I love sours, man. I once I found them, I was like, woo, man, this is my shit. And it's actually so. What I love about sours more than like, what I have right here right now, which is a lager. They're just so vastly different than what old people think beer is.
Mhm.
So like when you roll up on them, you're just like, here's this, and I'm like, that ain't beer, and I'm like, that's beer. But
Yeah.
So how do you? This is something that Doug and I always talk about as far as sours go. How do you mitigate, or how does it work with you as far as your body? Sours are very acidity, so can you drink them all? Or I'm sorry, they're very acid based.
Acidic.
So can you drink them all day? Do you have a problem, or you're just a sour all day guy, or where are you at with this?
I could drink sours all day. My dentist doesn't like me drinking sours all day. She's like, you better have like a beer and then a water to balance it out, because otherwise you're going to be just all gums by the time you're 80. And I'm like, doesn't sound like an attractive proposition. So the rest of my body's okay with it. Like my palate's fine and everything. It's just really the teeth. And yeah, it's something to keep in mind every time I drink them.
Yeah, so let me jump on here quick. This is mine.
Ooh.
I visited one of my favorite places to watch football, Cleveland, Ohio, last week.
Nice.
Before the helmet swinging and all that stuff, I wasn't at that game. I was at the game before. So, Cleveland has one of the ancillary, or one of the what do you want to call it? What do you call it, man? Southern tier places that's not southern tier. It's one of
Satellites.
satellites or brew pubs. I don't know if Casey, if you know about Southern Tier, but they're big here in America. They're big for their stouts, big
Okay.
old pastry stouts. You know those
I have
sweet
one
ones.
coming up later.
Yeah, I mean they're everywhere. Cinnamon roll. I'm not gonna. Well, we already teased what Doug has, but they're known for the big stouts. So
Okay.
it's pretty funny that I rolled in there and I'm.
All right, Craig, you kind of froze up there. So, yeah, just like,
Yep, he's in the freezy space.
Had some of the big stouts.
there we go. You froze up for a second there, Greg. You were saying you walked in for and were you kind of taken with the swipe light? Is that something that was there when you were there?
Yeah, well, when you walk into Southern Tier, you expect to have all these big pastry stouts, big ABVs, and I don't know. I was kind of taken aback that this is the one that I actually, I like. They had a really good selection, but I was kind of taken aback that they nailed this one too. 110%, 110 calories, 4% alcohol. It's a light lager. It's something that you would drink during summer. It's a lawnmower beer. It's something that it's something that you start the night with, I would say. You could end the night with it. You can end the night with light lager. But Southern Tier is known for their big stouts, juicy. When people post them, sometimes they post diabetes. Because
Yes, that is true.
Right. Because they're big. So for me to go there, and when I walked out, for this to be the one, I was like, oh, this is a really, really good one. I was shocked by it. I thought it was kind of ironic because, again, they're not known for that. They're known for, again, their big beers.
Okay.
It was a fun one. I don't know about you, Casey, and we can talk about this a little bit, but I'm starting to become very intrigued by how, I don't know how long you've been in the craft beer industry, but when here in America craft beer came out, it was great, don't get me wrong, but it was like high ABVs, and it was like, let's go high.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can, let's see how big of a beer we can make, and make it like so that like you can drink it all day, like end up being bad at like 4 a.m. or 7 p.m. Sorry, you know what I mean. And now what they're doing is they're coming, at least in America, they're coming back, and they're making these lower ABV ales, and they're making them so tasty that they almost taste like they're bigger than what they're drinking. So they're coming back, and so it's just really interesting. You see any of that up there as far as your high ABVs? And
I feel like we have the same wave where basically like it's everyone comes out the gate in the beginning of experimenting tons, and they want to just kind of like shock everyone with what's out there, and they don't really come into a point where they really start to find their groove and how they want to make it all happen in a way that they're going to have a batch that you can repeat year over year. So now we're at a point where everyone's really figured out a lot of the recipes. It's been a good 7-8 years now of like the craft brewery industry growing up here, and I think we're at a point now where everyone's like, okay, like we can have the big flavors, but you can have it with some consistency, or you can have it with higher ABVs, and you can get it to a point where people aren't getting disappointed every year because they might have liked something from a few years back and they can't have it anymore. So yeah, it definitely took a while to get to that point where everything gelled together, and now we're starting to have some of the breweries I'll mention later. Actually, they've really found good formulas to get that year-over-year consistency of what they're brewing.
Yeah, and one little note about this one. Look how skinny this is.
Super skinny. As soon as you mentioned it, I was like, "That's really skinny."
Yeah, it's looks like it's 10 ounce. What is it? 12 ounces. 12 ounces. Look how I just love how small this is, and I love how easy drinkable this is. This is like throwing your backpack stuff. And again, eventually, for a hike, eventually I love to see when craft beer is doing smart things like this, because these small little things will help us beat big beer, because big beer is already about this. It's already about small containers and making it easy for you, and craft beer needs to keep going that way.
Can I make a quick aside actually on that one, on that note? Can we talk about Michelob Ultra?
Excuse me?
About it?
Michelob Ultra. I don't understand Michelob Ultra. I don't like, I was on a cruise out of Fort Lauderdale once, and like people were drinking Michelob Ultra on the cruise lines, going out of style. It was the most confusing moment in life for me, because I've tried Michelob, but I'm just, what is going on? with that beer?
The ultra one is better than the regular.
Oh, that's frightens me. I find that
I
a
will
frightening
say
prospect.
there's a Michelob beer that it's like one of my few go-to mass-produced beers, and it's Michelob Amberbach,
Okay.
and that is quite good for it's like a dark lager, and it's very, very, very drinkable.
Can I find it in DC? Because I will put that to the test.
I don't know.
Oh, we should try to.
If not, I can bring it because Greg and I are traveling down
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to bring some ultra for him too. Maybe we do a tasting or
some
something.
White Claw, some Zima.
Yeah.
Oh
Bring it all.
no! Oh whoa! I know of White Claw. Let's not do that. Come on.
Come
Hey,
on.
Greg.
There's no laws with the claws, man.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
forgot
boy.
we're all gonna be in DC at that too coming up here, and
That's
February.
it. That's it.
So we got to do something. We got to do something, Doug. I like where you're going with this. Doug, are you on your second one? Should we go there?
Yeah, I can open my second one. So my
This
second
one
one's also a Southern Tiers.
Yeah. So light drinker.
Yeah, this is going to be a good comparison.
Light, easy. It's a lager that has some taste to it. It's not just corny. Or even sometimes lagers can be better. This is a really nice one. If you ever can try Swipe Light, I would try that. I hope they keep it around. This kind of reminds me of that stupid brewery that we don't want to talk about and their dumbass, what is it, all day IPA bullshit. Like this is kind of all day IPA-ish without like the IPA. Yeah, that stupid fucking ignorant brewery that we're not.
This is the anger.
Well, we won't mention. They have a really nice what is it, session IPA. But this is kind of like that, does a little bit. Like if they would do some hops in here, it'd be really like that on the angle where you can have a bunch, for all day, and it's pretty tasty.
Yeah. But you were saying about it really fits into the lawnmower beer category then.
Yeah, it's nice, man. I like it. It's a good one to start the day.
Start the day. Wake up with some eggs, some toast, and a swipe right. All right.
Football Sundays, man.
So here's the contrast. This is creme brulee nitro. I have never had creme brulee in nitro format. Creme brulee stout is the OG dessert beer to me.
Huh.
I've had it and I love it. So I'm just going to be curious to see how this is in nitro form.
So the regular form tastes like you're drinking creme brulee.
Oh yes. Very, very sweet, very good, but one will do you because it's just that sweet.
So it's one of those diabetes stouts.
Oh, definitely. That one is it. But it tastes exactly like creme brulee. I don't know how to explain it. It's delicious. So we're going to try it in nitro form this time. This one is also 10% at nitro. So let's see first of all, we'll see how it sounds.
Doug, have you had the cinnamon bun?
Yes. That one is syrupy sweet, but not my jam. Tastes like a cinnamon bun, though. That's for sure.
It's cinnamon in the damn glass, man. It's like
that opened just like you want to hear from a nitro. That was nice.
Wow.
Look at that.
Whoa, look at that.
Woo, baby. Look at that
wow. Thing. Okay. Let's see. Where can we? There we go.
Look at that. See the layering? Get the nice layering.
Neato.
Oh man, that is smells delicious.
Vanilla beans and natural flavor added. Okay.
But how is it?
Ooh, vanilla custard and bananas Foster.
That's exactly the kind of flavors you get out of it too.
Huh.
10%. Damn.
Feels like angling over here for a sample.
Right.
So that is freaking delicious.
Wow.
Oh my God. I like that better than the regular creme brulee.
I feel like with most things, you guys have a huge variety of beers down in the States compared to what we have up here, because that sounds pretty amazing.
It is. I mean, I get, because Southern Tier is in New York, and I get like that one Greg had earlier. I saw that store and I just haven't picked it up because
Hmm.
I'm in stout season for me. I like the heavier stuff when it gets colder, but it'd be nice to have something like that if you just want to have a couple of beers and not have like heavy stuff. And this is definitely
sound-
heavy, creamy as hell. You definitely get like, so to me, this is tastes less like creme brulee and more like the bananas Foster flavor that they mentioned, like, and the custard and that sort of flavor. I mean, the vanilla custard and kind of that burnt flavor is the creme brulee flavor you want, but this is like if they put bananas in that. It's not overly banana-y, but it's so smooth. Holy moly. This would be very dangerous because the creme brulee, you get one and you're just like, all right, I've had that. That's good. This I could drink a couple of, and at 10%, that's probably not a great idea, but holy shit, this is good.
Depends on what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm not driving anywhere, so it's good to go.
So did you was that in I see single cans?
Yeah, I bought a single can of it because there's a place by where I work that you can get everything in single cans. So that way I like doing that so you can mix and match 6-pack and try a bunch of stuff because, you know, if you buy a 6-pack and you're like, man, that really sucks, then you're stuck with 5 other beers. So yeah, that this particular beer I bought, and it was, I think that can was $4. So if you bought that in a bar, that would be $7 or $8.
$7.
So
That's like $50,000 Canadian. I don't understand. Like I can't reconcile these
You can't do
numbers.
the
in my
conversion.
head. Like when you say weather in Fahrenheit, I'm like, yeah, it's 90 outside. That sounds like death up here. Like I don't.
yeah, there's somebody I was talking to in like this little Twitter beer group, and she's from Saskatchewan.
Mm.
She's like posting these -20s, and I was like, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's Celsius, not Fahrenheit. Okay.
Yep.
It's still cold. It's not that it's not cold. It's just like different when you're looking at it.
I always have to translate for my Texan cousins. We're like, oh man, it's so cold over here. I'm like, okay, well, what's the temperature? They're like in the 40s. I'm like, that's like 5 Celsius. I'm like, yeah. For context, we just had a -15 day. So
So this I would highly recommend anybody getting it. It's really, really good.
That was not available at the brew pub, or I would have had it. So I'm just busting up. This one we don't really have to talk about much or even pull up. Spot and Oktoberfest.
Which Oktoberfest?
Spotting?
Oh, yeah.
Old OG regular. I think we actually I had one on the show earlier. It's just at the back of my fridge, and someone's got to drink it, right? So I don't know. This is the OG Oktoberfest, so it's just going to be Oktoberfest. So you is that a style that you like, Casey?
You know what? One of the things I've always wanted to do is actually go to Germany so I could check out a proper Oktoberfest because I drank a number of their beers over here, and I know there's the entire debate on whether you drink it room temperature or you drink it cold. People take it different ways depending on the beer. But yeah, it's one of those things I've tried a ton of through the last 10, 15 years. And eventually I just have to get to Germany and get it in my system and make it happen.
So it's a style. It sounds like a style you like.
I'm good with it, you know,
Yeah.
as long as I have a ton of bratwurst with me. Like they go hand in hand for me. I can't just have Oktoberfest beer without like a pile of sausage in front of me being like, this is going to happen. This is going in me.
No, what about like beer and mustard or pretzel to mustard? And...
All the mustard. We have a gourmet mustard place just down the way from here, and they do something like 50 varieties, and it's just like,
man.
And that shows you the beauty of this style, in my opinion, is that even in Canada, the style, what you get out of the style is the same thing what you get out of it here. Because
100%.
again, when we went Oktoberfest, we want the same thing that you said, Casey.
mm-hmm,
We want our brats.
mm-hmm,
We want it to be a little bit chilly in the air.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's just a spot. There's a spot for Casey. I like to say that there's a mood for every beer. There's a mood for every music. You know, same. There's there's a style for every wherever you need, man. If it's a rainy day, there's a style
100%.
for that.
You have different
It-
beers for different
13.
seasons. Different beer for
Right.
different seasons, different reasons.
Exactly. Same with music too. So
Yeah.
it's all kind of the same mush. But again, to me, it's just amazing that again you guys get the same thing out of an Oktoberfest as we get the same exact thing. Yes, we're close, but we're different. We're close, but there's vast differences in a lot of our culture, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I am for diversity, so I know this is not a thing everywhere, but I am.
Let's make this podcast political. All right. If you guys want the second beer for me, I have to go get an opener. So I'm going to go get that done
Do
and I'll be
that.
back.
Do that.
Okay, cool.
2
So
seconds.
let Casey go get his opener, and then soon it's gonna be time for a sponsor. But also though, so Doug, did you see this latest dust up in Canada?
Yeah. Are you referring to, is it hockey related maybe?
Yeah, and Casey's gonna come back and talk about it. We're gonna serve him up here a little bit.
Yeah.
But obviously, what's been going on? It's kind of respectfully, it's kind of not as important as what's been going on around here in America. But it's important culturally because obviously hockey is big. Probably bigger. I would say it's bigger in Canada than football is here. I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
Casey is
probably.
Canada.
I mean, that's the national sport of Canada. I would assume.
Is hockey bigger in Canada?
That's
You think
football is here.
than American football is bigger in America?
No, you guys are nuts.
Oh, really?
You guys have problems when it comes to football. Like hockey's big here.
Okay.
Let's not lie. Hockey
Okay,
is revered, and you have a lot of small town Canada who basically all they want to do is grow up and play in the NHL. That's their thing. But it's not nearly to the degree of like we have 10,000 people at a tailgating party, or I'm about to like beat you up because you don't like this QB messed up last season, and now I'm all mad. Like it's nowhere near the same level of insanity of football in the States. We look at Friday Night Lights and we're like, wait, you did what? you did what in a college level team? Like what, at a high school team? Like what?
There's
Okay. Cool. So then, would you compare American football, how Americans look at American football, to how the rest of the world looks at soccer? Because that can get...
Yeah, I'd say how the rest of the world looks at your soccer is how you guys do football, and how Canada does hating on Toronto. Canada loves hating on Toronto. That is a thing we have as a national pride for whatever reason. And us in Toronto are like, what did we do? What did we do to y'all?
Oh, so I have a question though. I always thought that from the outside looking in that the big problem for Canadians was with Quebec.
Oh no,
French Canadian.
That's
versus
at a national level. That's if you
Okay.
and you really don't even recognize the issues with Quebec unless you go to Quebec. So as an Anglophone, speaking English primarily, you go to Quebec and you can feel the nose being turned down at you, and the fact that you're like a second class citizen, and it's like you don't speak as well when it comes to French. They're just like, you're definitely in the wrong part of the country, my friend. But
right.
when it comes to the culture, I think the national unity all comes around the fact that Toronto makes up, the Toronto area makes up 20% of the population. It's like literally like 0.01% of our landmass, and we're just all clustered in this small area, and a lot of the politics revolve around a lot of Toronto based problems, like we need a better subway system, or we need to like get better infrastructure. We're the 6th worst for traffic in all of the Western Hemisphere.
That's dumb.
It's a horrible stat to have. Like there's a saying we have where it takes you an hour to drive from Toronto to Toronto because the traffic is so bad. Like you can drive on 100. Okay, let me convert this over. Okay, 1 second. You can drive on a 60 mile per hour highway, but you'll only be traveling at like 5 to 10 miles an hour at rush hour because it's that bad. Yeah. So Toronto is used to having its own individual problems that are very different from the rest of the country, and the rest of the country's like, those aren't real problems. I'm like, you have obviously not visited our city.
We kind of have that going on in America a little bit too. Rural versus urban. Politics that are completely different and they completely clash.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we have that kind of it sounds like it's more of a, we have it more of a, maybe in a microcosm than you guys do, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. I'm drinking. Who cares?
All good.
But anyway, though, we have to talk about a little bit about Don Cherry. and all that stuff that's going on, because I grew up as a hockey player, and it's just interesting, man, because from my point of view, and then I'll toss it up to you, as a young hockey player growing up, I just loved that the access, and I loved that he was like authentically Canadian to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was the thing I was just like, wow, this guy really is, you know. But as I grew up, I saw that he was more problematic, and I kind of, you know, got away from him. So it's just interesting to me, like for this, what he said this week was the final straw. Like, it's always interesting because, you know, it's always interesting to me to see where people draw the line. Like,
Right.
you know, sometimes people just go, you know, sometimes this is a third and fifth offense of somebody. It's
Yep.
like, oh, this is where we draw the line, as opposed to the 4 or 6 other things that we heard down the list. So I
Right.
just found it interesting that, like, at the end of the day, it was this one. And I was even talking to you on the side, because I'm like, I don't even know what poppies are. I kind of know what he was talking about, but like, you know, for the resume that this guy has of some of the,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, shady ass shit that he
Mm-hmm.
said over the years, I just thought that it was interesting that it was this one that took him down. You have any comments on any of this?
Well,
I know you do.
Okay, let's talk about a bit about the timeline of things, though. I mean, we have this. There's a video clip that's been going around today about him talking with a reporter back in 1990 about his views on, you know, Europeans and any outsiders to Canadian interests. The fact that he want to join a political party and not give foreign aid to anyone because we have enough problems in Canada already. So he considers himself a nationalist, and everyone else be damned. Which in 1990 was, you know, it was bad. It was like, it made people turn heads, but not to the level that it would in 2019, where as people have, like, as I've read a ton on this issue and whatnot, everyone does refer to this and, you know, the last couple of years as the Trump era. And he has changed the entire idea of what it means to be a national leader, what it means to communicate to your people, and also what it means to embolden people with, you know, very dangerous ideas and ideologies. And I feel like in that era, you know, we see I guess he is indicative for us of what problematic behavior can be if left unchecked for too long. And so we saw that basically. I think what happened is he said these things in an era where it's like, hold on, we've seen this movie. We don't like where that movie's going. Stop. Stop now. Because we don't want to go down that path. And it's actually come up in a few ways. Like, we had our federal elections recently, so our national election, and a lot of the rhetoric there was against, like, our pretty boy prime minister, who was problematic in his own way, but, you know, we still liked him for the most part, versus an ideology coming in that was very pro Canada, Canada first, but almost also that similar vein of thinking where it's like, outsiders, you know, down with outsiders, it's all for us, all of a very specific viewpoint of what it means to be a Canadian. And there's, with, you know, the visible minority and Indigenous population is a quarter of the population, but there's a lot of people who sympathize with the plight of, you know, when we mistreat others and have mistreated our First Nations peoples in the past, and the fact that it is a struggle to come in this country and be an immigrant and try to, you know, weave your way in society and be a productive member. And so because of all that, we've, you know, this Don Cherry incident has been so divisive in the country. You see people who are really, really angry that this foundational member of Canadian, like, this Canadian institution has been torn down. And half of us is like, he should have retired 20 years ago. Literally, by Canadian law, he should have retired 20 years ago. And he's still been working all this time. He's 85 and a multimillionaire. Like, we're like, yo, bro, like, it's good. It's stop. But yeah, it's been a crazy week.
Take your loud suits and go home.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, there's so much there.
Well, the best satirical article I saw, there's a place we have where people get all their, like, gaudy fabric called Fabricland, and the article, it was from the Beaverton, which is our satirical paper up here, and they're like, the article's title was Fabricland files for bankruptcy after their biggest customer loses his job. And I was like, yeah.
So you went and grabbed another beer, right?
I did. So as I mentioned, we have a number of craft breweries up here. One of them is called Blood Brothers, and they are the brewery in Toronto that has perfected the art of the sour beer. So this is a Paradise Lost from Blood Brothers. with a nice little, Illuminati-esque symbol on the entire bottle there. What it includes is a sour ale with passion fruit, dragon fruit, and Carolina Reapers. Yes, Carolina Reapers.
In a sour.
In a sour, my friend. I tried it at the brewery and I was like, this is interesting. It has that kick at the end from the Reapers that's very interesting. That's it. That's a guava one, actually. So they have a few different kinds. So they have a guava one, they have a peach one, they have a blue raspberry, I believe. And then this one is it's called a Passion of the Spice.
Ooh, they got a black raspberry one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Passion of the Spice. Oh yeah, here we go.
Listen, man, if I could smuggle over the border, I'd bring you some.
Mm.
I just don't know if I can pull that off.
Don't get caught up coming into here with that stuff.
Why couldn't Casey make it a Dad 2.0? Well.
Wow. Right.
So it's a nice reddish color, and yeah, lots of flavor to it.
Man. So with passion fruit, dragon fruit, and Carolina. No. Interestingly, for me, passion fruit and dragon fruit, neither are fruits that have a lot of flavor.
Passion fruit, really?
No, I mean the stuff I've had with it. I mean, you get a little flavor. That dragon fruit looks cool as hell and has almost no taste.
No, if you get a good passion fruit, it should kick you in the butt. It's so tart. Like it's such a tart fruit that if you get a good ripe passion fruit or mix it in right, it should just kick your mouth and you should feel it right away.
Yeah, I'm maybe just not having the right ones or whatever, but
we can fix that.
Casey's gonna be a part of our bottle share. I don't think he ever was, or I haven't.
Color on
I don't
that.
think I have, but I should join.
Yeah, that color on that is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
it is rich. It's super rich. So basically, the reason why I found this brewery, as you guys know, I spend far too much time on the internet, and I was kind of mouthing off around like, yeah, this brewery on the east side of town is like the best brewery of all. And my friends were like, hold up, wait a minute. On the west side, we have this one who was like really killed it at sours. And I was like, it can't be that good. And I went over, I'm like, it's that good.
Worth the trip.
I lost that battle. But it was they have it's like every craft brewery in Toronto for the most part, because Toronto's stupid expensive. Like to buy a detached house, a bungalow, 2-bedroom bungalow in center of town or near enough to the center of town will probably set you back about like 900,000 Canadian right now. So yeah, it's like
my wife and I unfortunately watch a outsized amount of HGTV, and there's a lot of programs that are based in Canada out of that.
Oh
like
my gosh.
Property Brothers guys, they're from Canada.
Of course.
And man, every time they're in Toronto, like the stuff people are looking at, I'm like, holy fuck. Like, how are you? What jobs do they have? How do they afford like $1 million for tiny house? Like,
the median income is only around like $39,000-$40,000, right? So it's like
it's almost like San Francisco for us. Like,
that's a good equivalent. That is a good equivalent. So because rent is so high for breweries, like they tend to maximize small spaces. So usually craft breweries will have seating for like 6 to 8 people at most, just a bar rail. And then you have the fridge for the bottles, and then the rest of it's all the vats and everything else. So it's a nice little spot. You step in, but they're super nice. And I just kind of tried out a few different things until I found, which of the Paradise Lost were the ones that were the ones for me. And this was one that I was like, all right, like the spice is it's the right amount of spice to go with it that you get as an aftertaste, and it's really fun.
Yeah, the Reapers they're like supposedly extraordinarily spicy. So I'm like fascinated. It's not like overtaking your mouth. Like I have a real sensitivity for spice like that. So
okay.
Reapers, they're like ghost peppers, or what are they like?
They're basically around the same level of that. Like Carolina Reapers are kind of in the same realm of spiciness. So if you should basically expect a burn, but I'm from a Jamaican background, so spice has been in my life forever and a day. So for me, I was just kind of like, oh, this is comfortable. I like it. Yay.
So that's great. So now it's time for our sponsor. Is he ready?
Always ready. Born ready.
Now it's time for our sponsor. We're not
Okay.
muted.
Again.
What?
So, hi, I'm Casey Palmer. You might know me from the blog Casey Palmer Canadian Dad, or also the podcast Chatting with Casey. What I do, I tell fathers how easy it is to do this job. Not at all, in any way whatsoever. In fact, it's something that we try and fail at day in and day out. But you too can be a dad if you follow these several steps of raising a kid, believing in your kid, and hopefully they don't mess up entirely over the course of their life. I invite you to come and check more of our stuff out because it's lonely doing it alone. And there's so many of us out there. So why don't we all get together, have a conversation, and make fatherhood awesome again? So you should come check out the podcast, check out the blog, check out the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Sometimes I even put out comics there to share everything that I'm feeling and everything that's going on in my heart of hearts over here, which people think is a little rock hard and solid from all the things I've gone through. But I swear it's still beating. Chatting with Casey Palmer, Canadian Dad. Check me out everywhere, and I look forward to chatting with you. Have a good one, guys.
Yay! And I saw you chatted with Miss WordPress here. She's amazing.
I did. Miss Tremolay.
Yes.
She was her and Mike were great friends when I was in NOLA for Dad 2.0 back in 2018. Took me out to make sure I was all comfortable and everything, and it was good. I think I talk about Dad 2.0 to a lot of people up here because dads are already rare enough of the space up here. In Canada, actually, it's shocking. There's only 20, 25 of us who are active, if that. It might be less. It's a really small number. And so it's a small, tight-knit community, and everyone's like, oh, what did dads do anyway? I'm like, let me tell you about this magical conference that happens down in the States. And they're all like, wait, so hundreds of dads get together and chat about fatherhood and everything they're going through? I'm like, yes, and it is amazing. So I'm really psyched for DC. I think it'll be a lot of fun to catch up with you guys and others that I haven't seen in a couple years. I booked in a couple extra days so I could visit the Native American Museum as well as the African American Museum of History and Culture. So I'm planning to spend a good 6-7 hours there before I head out. But yeah, I'm looking to soak in all the culture. I plan to have my. Well, not enough that I'm just come back broken. It's like, Casey, what did America do to you?
Right.
I have to build a threshold in.
Know your limits.
I can only take in so much America at a time. Yeah.
I don't even get us started. Anyway.
I don't plan to. We are. One thing Canada is really good at is taking in American media. So we have grown up. We grew up with the more interesting stuff was always on American channels. So we'd spend more of our time watching American shows and cartoons and everything. There's the 90s. We loved Family Matters. That was there's a huge influx of American media until Canada found its own space to build our own shows and our own quality stuff. So when it comes down to the problems happening in the States and politics and stories from the States, we're usually pretty well versed on it.
We are not on anybody else's stuff. It's just the way it is.
We get that too. Every time I go to the States and I see someone in the airport and they go on an airplane with a driver's license, I'm just like, what happened? What? It's confusing for a Torontonian because we're so used to our main airport is so international that we're just passports for everything. That driver's license for us, we're like, that's interesting. Okay. So you're flying to another one of your 48 mainland states. Okay, got it. Cool.
Right, and even that's going away. Some of our driver's licenses aren't even going to be.
Oh my gosh, state law makes no sense to me. It is so nuts. You have 48 basically separate countries in this country. It's
right.
What?
And there's parts that are
right. It's even worse with the weed. Now we got the weed, so now we have 10 places that you can have the weed for free. And then over here, you're out over here. If you have what is it? Now, if you have half an ounce, it's a felony. Here, you can go in a park and smoke. up the street.
The fact you could take weed over state lines and get like 20 years in prison.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, they're fucked up.
You ever see This Is America? This is why I keep saying that. This is America.
Yes.
I just keep saying it over and over again, and I don't know, it helps me, I think. But anyway, we are good at beer, man. That's what we do. And I'm gonna
Greg, you've already opened yours up. What you got?
really are good at beer. And it's good because beer is a wonderful coping method for a lot of people. So,
Good
so
numbing.
it's actually it's one of the things that actually works down here currently. Central Waters. Did I have this on the show before?
Strawberry Shop.
Strawberry
Central
Shop.
Waters, but not that one.
Ale with
Ale
lactose,
with
vanilla, and strawberry.
lactose and vanilla and
Strawberries.
strawberries. And it looks the part too.
Ooh.
Look at that.
You see,
What's going on down there?
I don't know, sediment.
But this one it's a double IPA. This drink's kind of it drinks like a you ever had one of those milkshake IPAs, Casey?
Yeah, actually, I had one a couple months ago.
Lactose ones. Yeah, nice mouthfeel. Not too hoppy. A lot of the strawberry you feel it's really good. Not so much vanilla. Vanilla, I don't know. Sometimes vanilla pops, sometimes it doesn't. I guess it depends on what the vanilla is. We're mixing with the vanilla.
Right.
But this is a really good one. Central Waters is a Wisconsin staple brewery, man. There, if you live in Wisconsin, you know Central Waters. Kind of like if you live in Toronto, you know Collective Arts probably, because we know Collective Arts here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're, one of those regional ones that everybody knows, but it's it's a safe one too, because I don't know, I won't speak for Collective Arts, but I will speak for Central Waters. They're a safe one, meaning you can pick them up and you can pick up a new style or something new from them, and not worry that it's going to be like horrible. It may not be your thing, but it's going to be pretty safe. Central Waters is good like that. Cheers.
Cheers, sir.
I have to open one to do a cheers because I drink the other two.
You drank
You guys are
I didn't
outpacing
finish
me.
my Oktoberfest yet.
So my last one for the night is a
Dun,
big
dun, dun.
It's a big one. It's
Uh-oh.
12.9 ABV.
I was gonna say the last one was 10%.
No, this is bigger. So this is Boulevard Brewing's Rye on Rye.
Oh.
So this is whiskey barrel aged ale, limited release, 2019. This is 12.9% ABV. I have not had a bad beer from Boulevard. All the beers I've had from them have been just really great.
Probably one.
Kansas City beer. So it says best by date on the bottle, which is February of 2021. So I think I'm in good shape.
Is this the one you're looking at here?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Rye on rye.
Although
on
that is
rye.
that's the wrong ABV, at least for what's on the bottle.
No, this is a different one. This is a 2017. I think it takes it to another level because it's rye on rye on rye.
Oh.
Rye on rye on rye. So yeah.
So you just have rye on rye. Let me try to find that here. Let's see.
It just smells boozy on the nose, but that's probably the rye barrels.
Mm.
They're not making it easy for you, man.
Do you do the rye beer? Do you do the rye beers, Casey?
Not often. That's one area I don't touch all that often. But I have a good buddy of mine who's highly experimental when it comes to beer. So he'll often bring things my way that I'm like, yay or nay, and we just try it out. But we try beers from all over the world, so I'm always looking for new ones.
Yeah,
There we
that's
go.
the guy right there. That's 2018 version. This one is almost a percentage point higher in ABV.
Yeah.
Almost no head. The head came and just went right away.
That's what she said.
No, it's aged in Templeton rye barrels. So this is heavy.
Doug, you missed that, man?
What?
Sorry.
What I miss?
Did Joe miss it? Joe missed it too.
She's
He said
not,
something about the head came and went or something, and I said it was that.
the head came and went.
Yep.
Usually
Is that
she's
what
very
you
good
said?
at picking stuff up like that, but she's
Right. Right. And then I said, is that what she said? And now it's kind of, whatever.
I was there for it. I was there for it.
Okay. Right.
I was there for it.
Anyway, Doug was caught up in his rye beer. Let's hear it.
So the color is almost reddish brown.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It is very, very, very rye-y. Very, very rye.
Rye.
Yeah, like
Like that.
the scent is right there. Like just like I like rye in doses. This is like an overdose of rye.
Oh no.
Oh,
So
no.
like rye, this is all in your wheelhouse. It's got the real boozy notes of the whiskey barrel aging, but excuse me, that is just a lot of rye flavors going on there.
It's not a bomber, is it?
No, that is a 12-ounce bottle.
Okay. Okay. So it's not too much rye then. You don't have to finish it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like this, you couldn't drink more than one of these. Like at least I couldn't.
So even a rye person may not. It may even be too much for a rye person. So Doug, you and we'll jump on Casey a little bit on this one too.
Sure.
But Doug, you do a lot of cellaring. Do you notice any difference with the cellaring as far as the rye goes? Meaning, maybe we could cellar that one. It could be a little bit better with the rye fall off. Do you know anything about this?
For me,
Doug. Yeah, Doug.
Yeah, cellaring is not my thing, so that's you.
Have you ever
I
aged
think
rye?
I think maybe the cellaring would mellow the rye flavor out.
Yeah.
So and maybe that's something I could do. The problem is that was like a $10 bottle of beer.
Wow.
So like I got it because it was a limited release. I had a couple of friends of mine who had it and said it was great.
Yeah.
It's too much rye for me, but I could see how somebody who likes rye whiskey really dig that, because if you're liking that flavor, it is right in that wheelhouse. Very boozy.
So it will be what we call a bourbon bomb if it was bourbon.
Definitely.
Gotcha. So Casey, you know what a bourbon bomb is? It's one of those bourbon barrel beers. You ever get a bourbon barrel beer or barrel age?
Yep.
You drink it and it's just like it tastes like bourbon. You can't
Yes.
even get the beer in it, and you're just like, where's the beer? That's what
Gotcha.
we call a bourbon bomb.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
And we're not fans of them because if we wanted bourbon, we would just
You get bourbon.
right.
Yeah,
We
you get
want a
bourbon.
beer- Yeah, we want a beer to kind of be in that bourbon thing. So I'm not sounding. It doesn't sound like there's a beer there. It sounds like rye.
There's not a lot of beer flavor in there. It's just literally just rye on rye. As the title is it is exactly what they promote it as. That is
You need some
exactly.
ginger ale. You need some ginger ale with that.
Oh,
That'd probably be a great idea. I don't have any ginger ale, but that'd probably be really good with it. So,
I've had that one too, Doug, and it wasn't over rye. So maybe that's just this edition. Maybe that's just what happened this year. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
even Casey said something about it a little bit when he was talking about beer coming up in Canada, about how it was different. And he's right. There's a lot of beers that are like you get it, especially seasonals.
Mhm.
And I think it's because the seasonals come and go away. Like if a seasonal was there all year and you were drinking it, it'd be less likely that you would taste any differences unless they were drastic. But when they go away and they come back,
Yep.
and you have that in your mind, like even if it's like pumpkin beer or Oktoberfest or any big stout, and you remember how that tasted because you're like, man, that was so good. I'm gonna go back for it. And you roll up and you're like, there's just too much cinnamon in this shit, like or whatever it is. You know what I mean? You can tell. Like that's why it's hard to be a craft brewer, in my opinion, because like it's just hard. And I think I think again the seasonals, and especially like guys like us who know what we like, know what we want, grab it and everything. It's just tough. I don't know. You want to speak? Anybody want to jump to that? But that's just a tough aspect, in my opinion, of doing this job.
Well, I'm here trying to like live up to you guys' beer knowledge and everything. Like I've just been picking up notes of the fact, like Doug's into cellaring. I was eyeballing, Greg, your bookmarks on your browser there, and I saw like beer safety training or brewery safety training, and I was like, y'all too serious for me. I go to the store, I pick some up, and I'm like, I bring it home, I try it out. I'm like, that's my level of like where I'm at. I'm like, you guys are.
You realize we're not experts by any stretch. The only thing is like we want people on and we want people to try stuff, and you're going to give a perspective that we don't have. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Cicerone or you're not. It matters like, hey, I tried this stuff. I really like this, or this really wasn't as I expected. And as long as you're just kind of upfront with like, this really, did it for me, and this did not. So like,
Cool.
the rye thing, like I said, I could see how people who like rye whiskey would really dig that.
Okay.
I really could see that. It's just I am not a rye whiskey drinker. I like Scotch and I like some bourbons. That is just not my wheelhouse, but I could see how somebody would really like that.
And of
Sure.
all the guests we've had, I would have to say that Casey is the most sour friendly.
I would agree.
You had 2 sours. You brought them on, drank them, loved them. Again, I think we've had a lot of people who love sours, but not. I don't think we've had someone who said, "Hey, what's your favorite sour?" Like sours. I love that because, again, the sours are great. I love them, and I found them late and later
Yeah.
on my craft beer.
It's only been a few years for me. Like I picked it up one summer, and I think again it's like I feel like the States will come up with something and we'll find our own version of it a few years later. So you guys are generally like I think right now you're probably like 3 to 5 years ahead of us on most things. So you'll come up with something, we'll go down there, we'll check it out, and be like, oh look, this is great, and then someone will bring it back, and it'll take a year or two to develop it and get it running up here. So sour beers up here have really only had a strong shelf life over the last 3-4 years. And I kind of like came up, I found out about them, tried them out, and I just haven't turned back since. And it's been great, but it's still a very acquired taste in Canadian circles. There's a lot of people like I can go to, our beer stores are provincial. Like we have the beer store and we have the liquor Control Board of Ontario, LCBO. So basically those are 2 places you can get beer, and you basically go to that specific store, you get your stuff, and then you go home. I can go to my regional, like local ones, and I can usually find what I want without fail because it won't have sold out because it hasn't picked up yet. If it goes too mainstream, I'm screwed. But we're not there yet, so I'm happy.
Well, I know when I lived in Pennsylvania, they had a liquor control board, and you could only buy liquor, just liquor, like wine, spirits, whatever. You could only buy it through their stores that were state stores. That's what they were called, state stores. So you could only buy booze through them. So they had a direct line of you can only get it here. And, now I'm up in New York State, and they still have liquor in one thing and beer in another. Like they don't combine them in New York.
We kind of have that. Like our liquor control board is where you find your liquor. Like you won't find liquor in the beer stores, but the beer stores carry a lot more of our mainstream, like the mass-produced beers are definitely more in the beer store than they are in the LCBO. So it all depends on where your tastes lie, I guess. Can we talk New York State for a second?
Sure.
Are you near a Tops grocery store?
Yes.
Okay. That frightened the hell out of me when I went down to where were we? We were close to Buffalo.
TOPS?
TOPPS.
Oh.
And I stopped by there and you got just America has so much. Like I went into the chip aisle. I'm like, you have 100 varieties of chips. You have 200 varieties of pop. You guys have whole chickens in cans. I do not understand it, but there's whole chickens you can buy in a can.
I'm going to tell you, don't buy it in a can. That stuff tastes like shit.
I don't know why you have it for sale, but there's whole chickens in a can. Doug, it's mind blowing. I just went in there and I'm like, you guys there's 60 aisles in this grocery store. I'm very confused as to all these things you have available.
Tops is not like one of the fancier grocery stores we have.
Oh, I understood that one.
Like where I am, Wegmans is that's the jam. Everybody loves Wegmans, but Wegmans is also a little pricier than most.
Okay.
We'll just wave it off like me.
Right.
Or Whole Foods.
Of course, Whole Foods. We know Whole Foods up here. We have a couple of them here. We have a thing up here for Trader Joe's. So anytime we can get down there and get to a Trader Joe's, we will buy out the store and come bring it back. But yeah, Yeah, Tops was it was almost like a rite of passage for me, where it's like I feel like I understood a little more about New York State after having experienced it, because I walked in there and I came out a changed man, where I just understood so much more about
Mhm.
New York State
Oh my God.
cuisine. It was so,
American
it was so
General.
weird.
General, too.
Yeah, so
That's
we have a Price Chopper, which is another grocery store chain here.
Oh, we used to have that actually. We used to have Price Chopper until it became Costco. No, wait, Price Chopper. No, we have Price Chopper. That just has an orange sign and white writing and everything. We have a couple of those still, I think.
So the one we have near here, you walk in, and I hate going in there because it smells terrible. It doesn't smell like garbage. It just smells like
It smells
stale
off.
bread all the time. You walk in, I'm like, what the fuck is going on in this place? And seafood, but
Oh, that's a stale bread and seafood. That's an amazing combination.
put that in a candle. Let's do that.
Oh, candles for people you hate. That's like there's a marketing campaign right there. Candles for people you hate. Hey.
Oh, man.
Doug, I think we should wrap it up.
I think so. Casey, do you have a third one? Or are you on two and good?
You know what? I'm still working on this Carolina Reaper greatness, so I'm good. I'm good.
Well, and you know, sours, man, they take longer than regular beers.
Yeah.
Sours are sippers generally.
It's true.
Mhm.
It is very true.
So what we usually do, Casey, is we usually wrap up by talking about the ones we liked, or how we liked them, or whether we did, or yeah. So this is well, I'll start Spot Oktoberfest OG. There's really nothing. It's great. Don't get me wrong, but you know, it is what it is. Um, Central Waters. This was really good here. The strawberry shop with lactose, really good. And then swipe left. So I'm sorry, swipe. I keep saying swipe left like I'm on what's that shit?
Good.
Never been it. Tinder.
Tinder, that thing. That I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. It's swipe light, people.
Not that I know anything.
Swipe light. From Southern Tier. Everybody knows them for their diabetes stouts. They're really good. Low ABV one. Doug, what do you have? What you have? What you like? What you didn't like?
Okay, so I'm gonna say that probably my least favorite was the rye on rye, just because I'm not a giant rye fan. It was just too much for me. My palate was not super pleased with that, and the only redeeming quality for it is just the boozy flavor for me. Like I said, if you're a rye whiskey fan, you probably go ape for this. It's really good.
Rye bomb.
Yeah, rye bomb. It might even be. I don't know that it's as bad as your rye bread beer, but that
Oh no. Nothing's worse than that shit.
Craig had this beer that was a rye. They fashioned it. It's a rye bread beer, and he said it tasted like what they said it was. It just tasted for shit.
Caraway seeds and everything.
Oh gosh, ew.
Right. Horrifying. Go
Us.
Doug.
All right, so the second one was the mom's favorite chocolate peanut butter stout. This was it's like if you're looking for something that isn't like overpowering with peanut butter and chocolate, you just want a little notes of that, and you want a stout that's slightly hoppy. This is drinkable. You could drink several of them and it would be fine. It's not remarkable, but it's drinkable.
Excuse me.
And the very, very, very clear winner was the creme brulee nitro.
That sounds delicious.
I'm a huge fan of the creme brulee by itself. This was better. The creamy kind of gives it a depth that it doesn't have in the normal one. The normal one is, I think, more like 13%. So like the nitro is a little bit less on the ABV, but it's just really super tasty. You'd have 2 or 3 of them probably, even though they're 10%, and you'd be just fine. And that's a little dangerous, but man, was it good. That's
It goes down real smooth. That's the dangerous part, right?
yeah, exactly. It's like you don't like when you drink the regular creme brulee, you know you're drinking a high gravity thing. It's just all the booze, even though you get it's not like boozy like a bourbon barrel aged thing, but you know it's boozy.
Mhm.
That one doesn't taste as boozy, just because the nitro just really kind of softens that out, and it's really good. Really, 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 really good.
Southern Tier, man, they're great.
I'm gonna add that to my DC list.
Yep.
See if I can find it out there.
Oh, wait till I give you the chocolate milkshake
Well,
one.
yeah, we're gonna hook him up. We're gonna hook him up with some
Oh, you're gonna have some
Southern
stuff.
Tier. We'll make sure you get some Southern Tier.
I'm very glad I booked a couple of extra bookend days for DC because I feel like I'm just gonna be like, hey, once see Casey, yeah, he's just in bed. He's just in bed recovering from
up.
Doug and Greg. That is what's happening right
Now
now.
there's certain guys in the dad blogger community you should stay away from if you want to wake up the next day. So
Yeah, when we're not recording, please tell me.
But Casey, you real quick though, you're in my opinion, you're very much on point as far as booking days in outside of the event, because what happens is, and you already know, you get caught up in the event the whole day. So then you go to Washington D.C., you come home, and your family's like, "Hey, how was Washington D.C.?" I wouldn't know. I saw the hotel.
Right.
That's exactly what I said. I saw a hotel for 3 days, and like I saw like we went out to dinner, and then we had drinks, and then we were back at that hotel. So I didn't even see that. So kudos to you for knowing that, and like having that awareness, being like, yeah, I'm gonna.
I learned from last time. I learned from Nola. I did get to see some of Nola, which was good. But I knew that if I wanted to really experience more of the city I'll be in, I need to at least take a couple days on either side and make it work. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be good.
All right, and that way you don't miss the people at the convention, all that stuff.
No, I'm there to see y'all. I want to see everyone, right?
Exactly.
But you guys want to know about my beers, right? Like we're doing that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're both good. If you want an easy drink, that's going to be great. Jam Up the Mash is a nice, I call it almost like an introductory sour. You know how people like always poo-poo on sours and they're just kind of like, I don't know, it's not my thing. It's not real beer. Jam Up the Mash is a good gateway into it to understand what sours can offer and not feel overpowered by it. If you want a beer that's going to kick you in the mouth, this Passion of the Christ, Paradise Lost from Blood Brothers it's still tingling on my lips. Like basically as I drank it and the Carolina Reapers came in, I was like, I may have overestimated my tolerance for, spice, but it's okay. I'm still good. I'm not going to bed like feeling like I have heartburn. It's going to be okay. It's just that it's a good mix of sour and spice. And if you don't have a good tolerance for both, maybe try it later in your life. Right now, it's good for me though.
Gotcha. And you drank the whole thing too? That's it right there, right?
It's empty. There you go.
Yeah, I won't be doing that with the rye one. So
that was a pretty ass beer too. It probably was the prettiest one of the night. That color was really banging.
Yep.
It's 500 milliliters, which is a larger size bottle, which I don't know how to convert that for you guys. It's big, okay? It's like it's tall as my head. It's tall as my head. That's what I can tell you.
Well, Casey, it's been great bringing you down here to our American podcast here, and
thank you.
Tolerated our American bullshit for an hour, and we're very happy for that. You got to deal with a lot more later. It's fine. We apologize in advance.
I'm here for it. It's good. Let's make it happen.
It's gonna be. I'm looking forward to seeing you in February. We're gonna do something, man. We need to do something impromptu or do something with beer down there.
Let's make it happen. I'd love to.
We'll figure something out. We'll talk about it, man. But thanks for coming on, and thanks for keep plugging away up there. And cheers, man.
Thank you. Cheers, gents. Thanks so much for having me, and look forward to the next time.
Cheers.
Thanks.